Vapes are prescription only in Australia. Should New Zealand do the same?
I'm addicted to vapes, I can admit that. But I think if it was made illegal, I would do everything in my power to get one. I don't think I'd really give a shit.
So there's a vape shop over there, there's one there, there's one there, and also there. So on the stretch of road in Auckland, there are 15 shops that sell vapes. I've just passed 5 while talking to you. Teenage smoking has dropped massively in the past 2 decades. Now only about 1% of year 10s smoke, but 10% are now vaping every day. Vaping was supposed to stop people from smoking, but now it's gotten a whole new generation hooked on nicotine. And now there's no simple answer on how to control it. Australia's approach has been to ban vapes unless you have a prescription. But is that approach even working? And should Aotearoa do the same? Or would that just create more problems?
So I started vaping when I was 14. I didn't know the feeling of addiction until I lost my vape. My cravings were there, they were strong. And I knew I could easily access a new vape. So holding back was really difficult. If I tried to quit now, I think I would definitely go back to vaping.
Does that worry you?
Not really. I feel like I could be addicted to something else worse. Back when I was really addicted, it was due to stress. That's how I would cope.
Aotearoa has tried to clamp down on vaping. In 2023, new vaping laws meant that all vapes need a battery you can remove and a child safety mechanism. Enticing flavour names are outlawed, and the amount of nicotine allowed in disposable vapes has been cut in half. New vape shops also can't be within 300 metres of schools or marae, but existing ones, which there are more than 600 of, can stay put. The new rules have been criticised for not going far enough, but would a tougher approach even work?
Australia is coming out really strong on vaping because we really don't want to make these irreconcilable public health errors like we did with cigarettes.
Australia has some of the toughest vaping laws in the world. Since 2021, it's been illegal to import or sell nicotine vapes without a prescription. That means, in theory, you need a script from a doctor to get a vape.
New Zealand could take a lot of learnings from Australia's approach.
But is their approach working? Their youth vaping rates are still going up despite the ban. And you can still buy vapes in Australia. Emily says some shops and manufacturers are simply disguising nicotine vapes as non-nicotine and selling them despite the ban.
The biggest loophole, I think, in Australian healthcare history.
But the loophole is now closing.
We did have sound policy. It was just that there were some loopholes that were being exploited by the vaping industries. They're not going to throw it in the bin completely because needed some tweaking.
Since March this year, all vapes, even ones you can recharge or ones without nicotine, are banned unless you are a pharmacy with an import licence.
Any vaping product that's not in a pharmacy will be seized. Really confident that the changes will work and that we'll see a massive reduction in vaping.
The latest reforms mean Aussies could pay up to $150 for a single vape if they get it through a doctor's prescription. Their government expects nearly 500,000 Australians will want prescriptions, needing an extra 1 million doctor's appointments each year in an already overwhelmed health system with long wait times. Back home, Ben Udan from ASH, an organisation campaigning to reach New Zealand's 2025 smoke-free goal, says Australia's policy means smoking rates will continue to stay high.
Australia is going to cause a great deal of harm with their policy. Australia is still allowing cigarettes to be sold absolutely everywhere. So if you create an environment where it becomes much, much harder to access and use the less harmful product, but leave the most harmful legitimately on sale absolutely everywhere, it's an absolute recipe for smoking rates to continue to stay high.
And smoking does seem to be on the rise in Australia. The number of teenagers smoking has tripled there since 2019, and early data from 2023 shows it could double again.
Can you explain to me why more young people are smoking?
That's down to that gateway effect. Young people who vape are then 3 times as likely to go on to smoke cigarettes.
The gateway effect of vaping is a hotly contested debate. Some research shows young people who have never smoked before are taking up vaping and then being introduced to cigarette smoking, sometimes using both at the same time.
Do many of your friends smoke cigarettes?
I think only 2 of my friends smoke cigarettes. They were introduced to cigarettes because of vaping.
But not everyone agrees vaping is a gateway to smoking.
We've not seen evidence of it in the United States or Canada, for example. We've not seen that in the UK, and we've not seen it here. In fact, in all of those countries, we've seen a continued decline in youth smoking. Australia is quite unique in that they've created this perfect storm to favour cigarette smoking over vaping.
Is there a chance that we are just going to create more smokers because vaping is harder to do?
I don't think so. I think that by restricting it to the prescription model means that people who smoke still have that avenue, that still exists, that's fully legal and legitimate.
Is it strange to you that vaping will be more controlled than cigarettes?
It is, but I think we've learnt a lot from cigarettes. We allowed cigarettes to be sold in a free market, and then decades later we understood that they caused cancer, they caused heart failures. But I think with vaping, we're at a much earlier point. We've got all the learnings from cigarettes. We know we can get rid of them now.
We don't know the long-term health impacts of vaping yet, but so far, research has found it irritates the lungs and worsens asthma. Vaping can also raise your blood pressure, heart rate, and alter your heart's function. And new research has found vaping causes similar changes to the DNA of the cells lining your cheeks, like smoking does. These cheek cell changes are linked to smokers developing lung cancer later in life.
History tells us that when you ban something, a black market pops up. Is it naive to think that more legislation will stop that from happening?
I think black market is a term that's really peddled by pro-vaping lobbyists at the moment. We see it constantly, the reforms are going to create a black market, but in reality, we already have a black market, and that's actually why the reforms are coming in. We're essentially going to turn off the tap of the supply of legal vaping products.
But is a black market that easy to just turn off?
More than $1 million worth of illegal vapes have been seized in the largest crackdown Sydney has ever seen.
The Australian Border Force has seized $13.5 million worth of vapes.
Some allegedly hiding the smoking devices behind fake walls, in ceilings and in secret drawers.
In New Zealand, a black market already exists. Apps like Snapchat and Discord are being used to illegally buy and sell vapes, either for cheap prices or because you can buy juices that have nicotine that is higher than the legal limit.
I know I've bought black market boxes of vapes because they're cheaper and you can get the milligrams that you can't get anymore. Yeah, there's definitely a black market starting. It's bound to happen.
Recently I went to Thailand, vaping's illegal, but all the street hawkers sell vapes left, right and centre. So it'll eventually move to the black market of things and everybody will just buy vapes illegally.
Would you buy a vape on the black market?
No, absolutely not. I'd rather just smoke cigs.
Probably not, because don't know what's going to be in it. Probably try to get a prescription.
You have to get a vape through your doctor. I probably would go for the nicotine gum and the nicotine mints, but on a night out, those don't hit the sweet spot. So yeah, I probably would smoke over trying to get a vape.
So what do we do about smoking and vaping? New Zealand had planned to make it illegal for anyone born after 2009 to ever purchase tobacco.
Now, it's all out the window. National need people to keep lighting up to help pay for their tax cuts.
The new government says the ban was unproven, and instead of smoke-free, they want to get our smoking rates to less than 5%. Currently, they're at 6.8%. So where does that leave vaping? The Health Minister has said vaping is the prime tool for helping people quit smoking, so there are no plans to follow Australia and make vapes prescription only. Instead, it will completely ban disposable vapes and significantly increase the fines for shops that sell vapes and cigarettes to minors. A Ministry of Health spokesperson told Re News the availability of vaping is part of the reason for the reduction in smoking rates. People who want to quit smoking have a more cost-effective, less harmful alternative. Re News requested comment from Vaping Industry Association of New Zealand, but it did not respond.
What would make you stop vaping forever?
If the price increased.
Yeah, okay. How much would be too much?
Like $40 per dispo.
Okay. So with things like how cigarettes became so expensive, that would be what would make you stop as well.
Yeah.
We need that government action to step in. I think we've got a really unique window of opportunity. We've got to implement these reforms. We've got to demonstrate to young people that we're taking this seriously. We're not going to put their health at risk. We don't want to just use them as a little guinea pig generation. We know that there's absolutely no benefit for a young person to be vaping at all.
It really worries me that we've gone down this weird punitive approach which treats vaping as much more serious than other things that kids are experimenting with, massively stigmatises the behaviour, doesn't really understand why they're doing it in the first place, including I'm using it to manage the fact that I feel stressed or anxious or I'm struggling. If we're not looking at it holistically around overall well-being and what's happening in the communities those kids live in, we're going to fail.